and little ages lifestyle while promoting responsible community development. Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Blessings and light. This is Aymara, the musical revolutionary. Your host and the community buzz on the Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. This and every Monday at 3 p.m. From the home to the community to the wider world. Let us be the change we want to see. Join me this and every Monday at 3 p.m. on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
This is Lady T Denise.
Fit mind, fit body, fit community, fit world. This is Aymara, the musical revolutionary on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race.
Struggle goes on. We are the builders of the pyramids. We are the builders of the stone cities of Zimbabwe. We build them White House. We build them factories. With blood, with sweat, with tears. With flesh, with bones. Them use build them economy. Now them want come con you and me. With them science and them technology. We make them take with knowledge. Now them are deafly. Them are blindly. We are walk, we are ride, we are drive, we are fly. Nah look, nah see. Eyes focus on the screen of an iPhone, Galaxy, tablet, Blackberry. Wake up, look. Uno no sister them are very weak. Ancestors crying out. Them are weak. You see we heading back to slavery. Robotic, digital, technological slavery. The rich take them session, call it recession, left the world in depression. Legal and illegal drugs and
yes, and the struggle goes on. The struggle goes on and on and on. The struggle goes on. Yes, this is May 8. Them says Child Month. Child Month. See? And we see so many things happening in Jamaica right now. You understand? And we need to salute the younger ones. We need to prepare ourselves so we can give them that what they want to create a better Jamaica for them. You know? Are we doing that at this moment? First of all, let me say good afternoon and blessings and light to the people who tune in to Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music, or the people who tune in on the World Wide Web, www.fitfmja.com. And we are also simulcasting on Primal Media, www.primal4k.com. Yes, we are there. So, as we say, grand afternoon to the people across the world, the people in Trelawney, the people in St. Anne's, the people in Hanover, the people in St. James, saying we're healing up because You are the one that keep us here and let us keep on sharing informations and, the same thing, you share information with us, so we are the medium that information pass through. So we give thanks to be here, another day, and we are happy that life continue with us or without us. Life will be always here, you know what I mean? And you see some people are going like say, them are go there, favor. I mean, I know that our work, see? And it come like say, them not follow history and realize, we have just a little moment here, And what we have to do, we have to make sure that we use the moment that we have here wisely and see how we can, make a difference, make people life better, make full life better first, because that's how it have to start. If you don't, be the change that you want to see, then I don't know how you're going to change anything. So first of all, you have to upgrade yourself before you start to try upgrade anybody else. So we are on that mission, of upgrading ourselves daily. That's what I am doing, and I imploring others to do the same, to be the best you, be your best self, so you can help to share the best of you with others. You know what I mean? We don't have to be so cross and I call people chink and all of them something there. You know what I mean? Because I would say it's only a chink and somebody who's a fly and a flea. No, chink, fly and flea. That's the reality. If you look on another human being like you and want to describe them as that, something really wrong with your head. You know what I mean? And we wonder if these things are just the weapon of mass destruction, because that is what is dangerous more than anything right now. The weapon of mass destruction. Some people out there distract people because they have other agenda where they want to push through. And it is being played out on every level where we see people doing these things, daily, trying to distract other people. It's a war, it's a battlefield. And we as soldiers on this battlefield must be aware where you stand in the battle. Because if you don't know where you stand up in the battle, well, you might get hit. See? So we give thanks. We're going to have Simone Maddox with us, a new kind of justice. And we are going to, go deep into what is happening here in Jamaica today. We see some people pushing hard and fast, wanting to be president of this little island, Jamaica, and, we don't know how it is going to work out. You understand? Because there are some treaties, that signed way back then, maybe for 400 years ago. Especially, I want to point to one of the treaty, the Treaty of Madrid. If people really read into that treaty, then we understand, say, this whole thing of constitutional reform is a serious thing, because the rights of land and property, how we tie up with the Commonwealth and all of these things are a part of the whole taking control of what we call the island called Jamaica. You know what I mean? There are some other people that are indigenous people here on the island, which we see them, we don't even know if they're part of the 15-member committee, which seems like is the final of the final say of this thing, So how can you talking about a republic and you are, not including the first sovereign set of people on this island, which is the Maroons? And we must talk about that. See? And we are going to show you how deep this thing is pertaining to, land rights and moving into a republic. And you hear some people that talk about it. The Treaty of Madrid was way back in 1670, right? And this is Article 7. I want to just read it that the people can understand. All offenses, damages, losses, injuries, which the nations and people of Great Britain and Spain have at any time heretofore, upon what cause the pretext soever, suffered by each other in America. Around so, then all is the Americas, if we want to understand, shall be expunged out of remembrance and buried in oblivion, as if no such thing had ever passed. Moreover, it is agreed that the most serene king of Great Britain, that was King Charles II, his heirs and successors shall have, hold, keep, and enjoy forever with plenary right, sovereignty, dominion. Plenary mean full control. Plenary right, sovereignty, dominion, possession, and propriety, all the lands, regions, islands, colonies, places whatsoever, being situated in the West Indies or in any part of America, which is said King of Great Britain of his subject and his subjects, and do at present hold and possess, so as that in regard thereof, or upon any color or pretense whatsoever, nothing more may or ought to be urged, nor any question or controversy be ever moved concerning hereafter. One of them things that we sink in, you know, and if we are not student of history, and to go back and see some of the things that we are tied up into as African descendants around here. So if we know say we're on the plantation still, if we know say we are in a corporation that is owned by some people and them did sign off on it. And if we don't go back and study the Treaty of Madrid, England moved to control Hispaniola and them couldn't, and them couldn't capture it. So then goes a bap and them did a fight for Jamaica, and them they a fight for Jamaica, and then, you know, them come to an agreement with Spain, you know, because the only place within this region where Spain never controlled was Brazil. It was the Portuguese who controlled Brazil. So, and because of that, them say, all right, make we sign off a thing pan ya surround Jamaica, and them sit down and then sign the Treaty of Madrid, that trade and them thing they could have gone. But people don't even remember that even before the treaty they formed or signed, there were some warriors here who were fighting. A man named Juan de Bolas, who born even before the treaty signed, because Juan de Bolas born 1604 and died 1664. The treaty signed 1670. So understand that. And the British, Juan de Bolas, who came here with the Spaniard, who was a part of their convoy, alliance with the British, right? So from that time, the British and them have certain agreement that them would be free to control certain territories here as free people because of the kind of agreement and alliance that they formed to even get rid of Spain. These are some deep things, right? And as always, just like even France and even Spain and England, there are always internal conflict where them have them little issues pertaining to people who are private owners of properties, right? But there's another brother named Juan de Sirius, never like what Juan de Bolas are going with, and he decides, I'm going to take him out. So he take him out, he form another group of Maroons, and then continue to fight. So long before the Treaty of 1738, see, we the Maroon have control of this on this island, the Maroons. So how you going to talk about the sovereign in Jamaica is the government of Jamaica? That's one serious thing. You sound like a lawbreaker. You sound like you are going to violate something. When you make them utterance, there is a serious thing. And then we look and say your minister still out there call people fly and Flea and Chink and all of them things. I want to see I do nothing about it. Or we are going to talk about constitution reform, and we not think how we are going to reform our mind and reform our action towards others. It's them same people here are going to be a part of this new system where I deal with people so under the whole system here. And the whole already, you know. I want to see nothing else come out of them, you know. See? So, are we going to allow these people, you know what I mean, to take our children down that road of a new system, or is the same system? I want to read something from Sister Rosalie Hamilton. And she said, are we reforming our constitution to achieve people sovereignty? We have to think about that. People sovereignty. And she go further. I suggest that the question for the Jamaica people to decide should be rephrased. Should we become a republic where the Jamaica people are sovereign, or should we remain a constitutional monarchy where the executive is sovereign? We need to ask them questions, and we need to cipher them out, and we need to sift them out. You know what I mean? Remove the old gravel and the fine sand, and to see which part we are going to smooth out things, because things don't look too pretty, and things don't look too nice, and a whole heap of chakanis galang. And we have to deal with all of them chakanis here, where not really look too right, you know, because as we speak, Jamaica is in a chaka state. You know what I mean? And if the people don't wake up and realize that we're really in a chaka state and say, we need to do something about it. You know, we need to do something about it. And we don't know why we people them so silent. You know, it's like them don't know what go on. You know, it's like we find ourselves in this situation that we just go vote and sit down and wait for the next 3 years or the next 4.5 years or 5 years that we vote for somebody else, and we just go back away and go lie down, and we give these people ultimate power over our lives, and them do what them feel like. Them sell what them want sell, them call who them want call, all kind of name, whether you are squatters or squatters are called people squatters. When we grew up, we granny used to say one thing, say, keckle a cuss pot, say, them bottom black. You understand? Not knowing where you are from, knowing not, it's a sad thing. It's really a sad thing, you know? So, we're there. Are we in a apartheid state? Is it that we are here in a state of divide and conquer, divide and rule? You know, we know that Jamaica is really a highly classist society. We know that. We want to say enough respect to Mr. Dennis Meadows. He was here last week, and he stated his intention to represent the people of Northern Trelawney. But, you know, I thought that everything did seal up on his side, but there is an opponent in the camp still want to put up herself, and we are hoping to talk to her. You know what I mean? And I believe, you know, next week she will be here, you know, her name is Suzette, what? Suzette Brown. Okay. So, Miss Suzette Brown, we need to talk to you to hear what you intend to do, and now, you know, how much you are communicating with the people on the ground, because I've seen Mr. Meadows all around the place. Until now, I don't really see him, I don't know what you look like, you know, and we don't hear much about you, but we hope that you can come here and clear up some things, because that's the reason I thought everything was sealed and signed according to Mr. Dennis Meadows. But we're hearing otherwise, and we want to make sure that everybody get them fair chance, you know, a balance we are dealing with it. You understand? So that is it. Make we drop that Peter Tosh there before we bring in with great sister.
I dig out me food. digging out me uranium. Now we gonna fight, and some brothers go fight the part you know for matching in our Milan. No hobby of people, you're in a Milan. All you build is prison. You're in a Milan. Set up your army camp. Now we gonna fight against apartheid. My brother.
Yes. Our real revolutionary, Peter Tosh. We are going to fight, and we continue to fight against apartheid. We are fighting. We land. I take out everything with uranium. You take out with gold. You exploit with people more than ever. That's what you are doing. You are disgracing and degrading the most important resources. I don't even like use that thing to describe human, but never use it for now, which is the human resources. We don't know how to maximize it. You know what I mean? Right. So when they are fight against that kind of system, I want to welcome my sister, Simone Maddox of Anchorage, a new kind of justice. We are going to talk about land, and we are going to talk about constitution and reforming that is taking place. And we want to know if a reform, we are going to reform, or we need to just create something new. And that is what we're about. So, Simone, are you there?
I am here, Imara. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Good afternoon to Community Buzz and to Fit 96.7 FM and to primal4k.com and to all your listeners and to all my listeners as well on a new kind of justice. It is a privilege, a joy, and a necessity to be here this afternoon.
Boy, I don't know what you're drinking now, what you're sipping before you come on here. You're so full of energy, man. Your energy will lick me over here, so I want to sip.
It's called Justice Tea.
Justice Tea. I like it. I need some of it because we are telling you, the energy that I reach over here, so, it really make the studio start to get hot.
Yes, man, it's a serious time. We're living in a serious time.
And this is what we talk about, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We have to take that to build and maintain our community together and to make our brothers and sisters problems, our problems, and we find a way to solve them together. And that we're there, so we do this afternoon.
Yes, I'm glad you say wake them up.
Then, man, what you mean? It's a wake up time now, you know what I mean? You can't sleep comfortably in this heat, yeah.
No, not at all.
Not at all. See? So, Simone, the thing that is on the agenda, and we don't see this coming off the agenda anytime soon. They are going to use all kind of tactics of mass destruction for distract with, but we have to keep an eye on this one. We are talking about reform and people a push to become president and a republic. Just share with us some of your findings, and all of what is taking place.
I want to start with just making one correction. It's all away. So the distraction that's going on, and I love that term, weapons of mass destruction. Even that, it involves all of us.
True.
It involves all of us. We are on the cusp of such a golden opportunity to either sink or swim. And we definitely have to lock arms, whether we like to do so or not. Otherwise, we're going to have more casualties than survivors. And so this afternoon, I really want us to drill down as much as we can into the theme of constitutional change, whether we have an opportunity for land reform and other things. So that is where my mind has been for the past 48 hours or so, in a very intense way. And I am glad to be here to add my bit to the conversation.
All right. So, before we jump into it, before we go into it, let me tell the people that them can be a part of this discussion by calling into 876-478-9144. 876-513-6668. I go again, 876-478-9144. 876-513-6668. Yes, you can call in, you can send in a text, or you can send in a voice note wherever you are in the world. We're talking constitutional and land reform. May I make that be a part of it, right? So, Simone, as you were saying, you can go ahead.
Yes, I was saying that the Constitution still speaks of Commonwealth citizens, because we're looking at it now in terms of where we come in to the picture, because we heard a remark recently that suggested that the Constitution recognizes certain creatures and certain individuals. And if that is so, then that is something to be looked at, so that the next one, the next Constitution, will recognize everybody. But we will get to that further. Chapter 2. So chapter 1 is the introduction. All right? The preamble, the wheretofores, and the titles and all of that, and the historical record of the different orders made at Buckingham Palace. Chapter 2 speaks of citizenship, and within that chapter, we are also classified as Commonwealth citizens. We're part of the British Empire, even now. And what is a Commonwealth realm? That is a sovereign state that has His Royal Majesty, King Charles III, recently coronated, if that is a word, as monarch and head of state. And he succeeded his mother, Elizabeth II, as monarch of the Commonwealth realms immediately upon her death last year, September. And it is interesting to note that among the realms, Jamaica is listed. So all the realms and their crowns are both equal with and independent of the others, though one person acts as monarch of each. And as of 2023, there are 15 Commonwealth realms. Antigua and Barbuda, 15. Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Solomon Islands, Tuvalu, and the UK. All of these are members of the Commonwealth of Nations, and they are part of the realm. So we cannot gloss over that, because that is how a constitution that we are looking at now, that is how it starts, basically. And then chapter 3, in the clause 15, that is it. That's the clause that speaks about property rights. But it not say anything where you can understand so easy, because I read it over and over several times. And I eat, drink, sleep, and swim in the law. And I still concluded that this provision...
Chapter 3 deal with fundamental rights. Fundamental rights and freedom.
Yes. So
and it is what, 15? Yeah.
Yes, because it lists property rights in that chapter.
Simone, it's something that I read. And as you said, you say you swim, dive, sleep, and wake and eat in the law. Me is just somebody who glimpse over it and maybe take a little prep. But just the prep when me take, me kind of confused. So that no person shall deprive of his personal liberty, save as may in any of the following cases authorized by law in consequences of unfitness to plead. You see them something that kind of make me think. The whole other section.
For us skip over all of that for the time being and see if you can.
Because of time.
15. Because of time too, and because of how it's constructed. And see if you can zero in on the part that says protection of property rights.
Yes.
You seen that?
And that is what? Because see, protection of property rights. A, B, C, D, E, F. Point me to it quick, but we not take up a whole heap of time.
So it's that item that is listed as 15.
15D or 15 what?
15. I think it would be D. Read 15 that you have before you.
In execution of the order of the court may order to secure fulfillment of obligation imposed. No, that's not it.
All right.
All right. Find it.
Yes. It refers to protection of property rights, and basically it's speaking about the enjoyment of property with some exceptions, such as taxes and bankruptcy and compulsory acquisition. So it really just glosses over the concept of property rights. And after you read it, you're not really going to get any great assurance or understanding about your property rights separate from your other rights. So it's rather awkwardly expressed and rather vague at this time. So that is something that we need to look at, because anybody is supposed to be able to take up the supreme law of the country, which is the Constitution, and get a clear sense of what their rights are, especially property rights, because we are talking about the fact that any legal system is expected to provide protection of people, of their people, and their rightfully acquired property. And this is a key driver of economic freedom and civil society. So we are saying that the legal system is a determinant of economic freedom. And at the heart of that is property rights. So if you not even understand where you are in relation to property rights, right there, so the whole concept of freedom start get very shaky. So we are saying that the key ingredients of a legal system that affects property rights are generally described as rule of law. We always hear about rule of law. And we expect to have security of our property rights and other rights. We expect an independent and unbiased judiciary. We expect impartial and effective enforcement of law. And so at this juncture, we have to find a way to reconcile in our psyche. We have to reconcile in our mind to the fact that countries around the world, including Jamaica, are part of the British Commonwealth and are considered, even ceremonially, owned by the royal family. So notwithstanding the ceremonial quality that is ascribed to the status quo, King Charles III, which we call the crown, owns about 1/6 of the planet's surface. The British Empire is still the largest legal landowner in the world.
In the world.
Yes.
And well on, Simone. I wonder if it's because my one is a whole one, you know. But may I look upon chapter 18. No, chapter 3, 18. See, and it's about compulsory acquisition of property.
Let me just stop on one quickly.
Yeah.
So I use versions as simple as possible so that we can get drilled down quicker and we can get to the meat of the matter.
See.
So maybe the one that you are looking at is not the one that I am looking at, but it's still the same chapters. So let me just bring up mine quickly.
Yes, people, we are here and we are talking about land reformation and constitutional reformation. We want to see how we can participate because this is a free business. We live here long enough. We are inheritance and enough just some other people.
And if we want to make it simple, Imara, we can let us just for the time being consider, say the Constitution is a living will that we are reviewing to cater to itself and for generations yet unborn. So we
need to know if we in other will. Yeah.
Yes, we are how to put ourselves in it. Right?
Yes.
So the section on property rights says, no property of any description shall be compulsorily taken possession of, and no interest in or right over property of any description shall be compulsorily acquired except by or under the provisions of a law that prescribes the principles on which the manner in which compensation therefore is to be determined and given, and secures to any person claiming an interest in or right over such property a right of access to a court for the purposes of 1, establishing such interest or right, if any; 2, determining the compensation, if any, to which he is entitled; and 3, enforcing his right to any such compensation. Nothing in this section shall be construed as affecting the making or operation of any law so far as it provides for the taking of possession or acquisition of property. You tired yet?
Stop right there, sir. Stop right there, sir. I explain right here, sir. That too. Nothing in this section shall be construed as affecting the making or operation or any law so far as it may provide for the taking of possession or acquisition of property.
It simply means that if the property that you are exercising control over, you're holding it as,
Yes.
you know, whether it be based on adverse possession, you just being there for well, with private lands, 12 years and over, crown lands, 60 years and over, or whether you had acquired it by formally and have a fee simple interest where your name is on a title alone, or you have a title with along with other persons, whatever category you fall into, if it is needed by the crown or the state, as the terms are being used interchangeably, although they don't mean the same thing. They don't always mean the same thing, and we can look into that. If it is needed for a public purpose, you can't object. You have no basis on which to object. You have to surrender it. You will be compensated if you have a claim that is well grounded in law. So there are exceptions.
All right.
So
there are some other segments of it. Continue with that part then, like insatisfaction of any, them part there. We need
to determining the compensation, if any, enforcing his right to any such compensation, and insatisfaction of any tax rate or due, so you can lose it for not paying taxes or certain rates or certain things that are due. By way of penalty, you can lose it by way of penalty for breach of the law, whether under civil process or after conviction of a criminal offense, upon the attempted removal of the property in question out of or into Jamaica in contravention of any law, by way of the taking of a sample for the purposes of any law. So you
sample for the property.
It says by way of taking of a sample. So it doesn't say, it does not explain all of that. So essentially, the Constitution, and there are other provisions that we could go into, all the way down to K and subsections, right? So to sum it up, the Constitution as it now stands acknowledges a right to the enjoyment of property, but it is subject to many things, and it is also vague as to how extensive the right to property can be. So we want to start at the head of the stream, and what is coming out very clearly is that this mysterious property empire behind the British monarchy is evident in our laws. Last year, sometime, the Prime Minister was addressing the Parliament and expressing an intention to get legal advice on how to strengthen the, let's say, the legal framework to protect state-owned lands, further protect state-owned lands from adverse possession, because it has been realized that some lands called state-owned lands have the same 12-year protection against adverse possession or squatting as applies to private lands. And what struck me about that is how we often speak of crown lands like his state-owned lands and vice versa. But for him to make that observation, simply tell you, say, that is not one and the same. There is confusion and mystery and very strange factors that influence the whole property law regime, especially in relation to the monarchy and colonialism and slavery. So we have an opportunity to not just think about the needs of private citizens, but about the needs of the state and about where we want to go as a nation, given this wave of constitutional change that is enveloping the entire CARICOM, as a matter of fact. Belize too has expressed their desire to move away from the monarchy. St. Vincent has done so, Antigua, and there are other CARICOM countries that have been looking at this very seriously, even though the conversation might seem to be more focused or more amplified along the lines of reparatory justice. And we would need a separate episode to deal with that. But as we are sitting with each other, and we have to have some face-to-face conversations about this, because as a result of European invasion, conquest, and colonialism, you have indigenous peoples. I heard you speaking about the whole Maroon scenario too. The Constitution doesn't acknowledge Maroon sovereignty nor Maroon lands, entitlement to lands in any separate way. And CARICOM has been looking at the fact that as a result of European invasion, conquest, and colonialism, indigenous people were killed and brutalized and ancestral lands seized. And of those of us who were brought here and experienced physical emancipation, most were turned off plantations without land. And with the exception of Maroon settlements and free villages, even free villages had problems when lands were being cut up. A lot of people not even aware of that. That even when lands were being cut up for free villagers, it was found that the lands were owned by planters. Some of those parcels of lands. So the church and other leaders, community leaders that were very active in the free village movement, they came upon hurdles as well. But not everybody benefited even under that system, which was not without its problems. So many of our foreparents ended up as squatters. And so we inherited that whole squatter construct due to no fault of our own. Many of us ended up as a landless group from back then.
Because the truth is, what we call emancipation was really transfer of power. Is that the British Crown decided that they would just pay off the private owners, right, for them property.
Yes,
and
that
is what emancipation is about, It's nothing more than that. And because according to Article 7, right, in the Treaty of Madrid between Britain and Spain, is that everything around here so for them forever. That's what it is saying, Let me read it again. I don't know if you did hear it, but let me read it again. all offenses, damages, losses, injuries, which the nations and people of Great Britain and Spain have at any time heretofore, upon what cause the pretext soever, suffered by each other in America, shall be expunged out of remembrance and buried in oblivion, as if no such thing had ever passed. Moreover, it is agreed that the most serene king of Great Britain, his heirs and successors, shall have hold, keep, and enjoy forever with plenary right of sovereignty, dominion, possession, propriety, all those lands, regions, islands, colonies, and places whatsoever, being situated in the West Indies.
Yeah, so to sum it up, it says the Treaty of Madrid, also known as the Godolphin Treaty.
Yes,
it was a treaty between England and Spain that was agreed for the settlement of disputes in America. And we are, as you correctly stated, classified as America under that treaty, which officially ended the war between those parties.
Britain.
Yes. You know? And they mentioned that they had conquered Jamaica. So after 6 years now, bringing us now to where we are right now. After 60 years of independence, we have done a lot, we have achieved a lot, but it is still to be compared to sweeping back the sea with a broom. And I'm quoting my late great father with that analogy. Go when the tide coming in, go there with a broom and try sweep back the sea and see how successful you are. And we are not discounting our efforts. But we have a chance now to look at the opportunity we have to right some wrongs, whether we call it ceremonial or not. Because we may just find that it's not ceremonial, it goes very deep. So where we are now, with the arguable exception of maroon settlements, and we know that that is being debated, not just in our court, but internationally.
Internationally, yes.
We remain in a category of crown lands. Even though it might seem that the state or the government owns or controls about 22%, right? So it might seem that the balance of the land is held as freehold by individuals and as family land. Family land is a deeply established cultural construct, not recognized, not known to Jamaican law. Yet about 30% of the lands that are considered owned by Jamaicans come under the category of family land. But family land is not known to law.
Simone, why you use the term considered? Why you use the term considered owned?
Because we consider it so. We consider it so.
All right.
So you know your family, every Jamaican, not every Jamaican, but many Jamaicans, thousands of Jamaicans, consider them family of a family plot or a piece of land, a country.
Yes.
Yes, family land. Whether they say are them granny land or them grandfather land, everybody have some connection and attachment to a piece of land. Most people.
But are they truly owner or they're older of the land?
We are looking, that is what we're looking at. Because in our minds, you can't tell we say we don't own it. Right? And for all intents and purposes, yes, we walk the earth. We walk the earth as kings and queens. So you can't tell we say we don't own it. And this whole concept of monarchy is not monarchy we against, it's domination. Because monarchy is on our DNA. We consider ourselves as descendants of kings and queens. So we're not hostile to monarchy. We're hostile to oppression. We're hostile to domination. And we're hostile to injustice.
Perfect.
Right?
Yes.
So even to talk about republic, many people can't even wrap their brain around republic because we don't know what that is. What is republic? It not turn we on. It not strike no card for we. We want to know what it is. Maybe we want to own monarchy. Maybe it's we own monarchy we want. Maybe it's we own monarchy we want.
But
maybe we want our own concept of monarchy, of kingdom living.
Yeah, but we don't want a monarchy we are going to abuse with. That we are talking about.
Exactly.
Abusive
but
father.
It's not, but monarchy in and of itself is not the issue for us. Because if we trace back our lineage,
clear for people.
Yes, if we trace our lineage back, many of us tracing back our lineage to some kingdom or other. Whether it's African or it's East Indian or it's Asian, many of us have deep connections to a kingdom. So it is not the concept of governance, nor discipline, nor order, nor even king and queen that is offensive and repugnant. It's a concept of oppression, indignity, and injustice. So bringing it back to the land concept now, we are trying to figure out where we are in Jamaica. And we're saying, okay, government owns some land, families own some land, and we have many wars that persist over the unkind description of deadlift. But I use it because many people can relate to it. So there is war and dispute and discord over deadlift from generation to generation, and many family concepts governing land distribution are reduced to legal myths. So you build up what I mean by that, your grandfather tell you, say you can build your house and that plot to the front of the land, right? And you build your house there.
Yes.
And you would now want to sort out your business, formalize it. You maybe want to make sure, say, your children can inherit it. And you go to see lawyer, not necessarily lawyer Maddox, but you got to see a lawyer, and you say, I need a title for this land, some family land I have. And I say to you, well, get a valuation done.
Right.
And you come back and the house is what you value. You value your house and it value maybe 30 million. And you don't have one piece of paper in relation to the land itself. All you can tell me is that your father did say you could have built towards the front of the land. And other family members were doing it and you just do it. And so you realize that you have an asset, you own something, you own a house, you own a home, you are part of a community. But you are an undocumented landholder and certainly an undocumented landowner. Because you can't do nothing with that more than sleep inside that house. You can only live
I believe we need to explore 19, chapter 3:19. It's talk about protection for privacy and of home and other property. And we just a glimpse through it. And some of the things where you have to write so protect, let me read. Except with the own consent, no person that is in person or his property or the entry by others on his premises, not with nothing contained in or done under the authority of any law shall be held to be inconsistent with or in contravention of this section to the extent that the law in question makes provision which is reasonably required. A, in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, wow, the part, yeah. Public health, public revenue, town and country planning. I see the part, yeah, so are the development and utilization of any property in such a manner as to promote the public benefit, or B, to enable anybody corporate established by any law for public purposes or any dependent of the government of Jamaica or any local government authority to enter on the premises of any person in order to carry out work connected with any property or installation which is lawfully on such premises and which belongs.
The question is, who are the owner for the yard? And it's also about quality of life. Right?
Yes.
It's about quality of life. And it is about opportunities, and it is about who really is answerable or the authority concerning land and where you inhabit, right? So, and in our discourse and the thrust of a new kind of justice, is to help us to look at opportunities we have for meaningful constitutional change. Because we don't want to be just doing some cosmetic changes, putting on little lipstick or, maybe dye up the mustache a little bit or something.
Yeah. No one should agree with them.
No, it's not a facelift we're looking at. We would be wasting this one moment in history to break colonial ties and strongholds, as the Holy Ghost people them say. It's an opportunity to break strongholds with the British
monarchy. As you say break, make we take a little break with piece of music and see what go on there, because
yes, man, if you could have played Break Every Chain by Tasha Cobbs, that would have nice. I don't know if you can get her with that.
It look like we have to take it on the other break because it will be too quick.
No worries.
Yeah. But the truth is, we want the people them to call in, we set it with the people all the while, be a part of the process. So let Iman give the number again to be a part of this conversation. Can't say, never get a chance to open your mouth and talk. So here it is, 876-478-9144. 876-513-6668. Call in, send in a text. Bless up yourself over there, Mr. Beckford, right? Over in New Jersey. You always send me something, and they're very deep, and I tell you that you need to, send them to the Gleaner, send them to the government too, you know what I mean? Send them to some people that them must look into these things, because you really speak some truth. And what we want to really move from, because right now, what we have faced here so now is 60 years of what they call independence, and it's well if a government change from that time till now. And whoever come next time, we still are going to face this. Make we take a break and come forward. We are going to drop a piece of music, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus. Jesus.
There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of chain, break every 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 chain. Oh, hey, hey. And then they giving unto him that's higher than every other name. Jesus! At the mention of your name, every knee will bow and tongues confess. You are King. I've never seen a name this is holy, as mighty as you. No, no. At the mention of your name, every knee will bow and tongues confess. Yeah, yeah. For the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runs to it and save. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus to break every chain, break every chain, break every chain.
This is Lady T, Denise Gomez, host and producer of Inside of the Zone in New York, the community platform where information is guaranteed. Join me on Mondays at 5 on Fit 96.7, fitfmja.com, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music, for exciting features within the diaspora. And hear what's on our minds. It's live at 5 on Fit 96.7, fitfmja.com.
Get your day started right with the Morning Connection. Weekday mornings, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on Fit FM 96.7. Connect with Julia Mikkel Benaya on the Morning Connection for news, business and artist promotions, great music and vibe. Morning Connection with Julia Mikkel Benaya, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. weekdays on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Blessings and light. This is Imara, the musical revolutionary. You're host and the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. This and every Monday at 3 p.m. From the home to the community to the wider world. Let us be the change we want to see. Join me this and every Monday at 3 p.m. on the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Saturdays at 4 p.m. Join Fit FM 96.7 fitfmja.com for a simulcast of Primal Sports, an interactive sports program produced by Primal Media and presented by top sports activists. So tune in to a simulcast of Primal Sports on Fit FM 96.7, fitfmja.com, and primal4k.com.
Yes. Welcome forward to the community buzz on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music. We are simulcasting on primal4k.com. It's Primal Media, www.primal4k.com. And we are on the World Wide Web, www.fitfmja.com. And we are talking to Simone Maddox, new kind of justice, ANCAJ. We are talking about land reform and constitutional reform. You see, We just talk about, we hear the song, there's power in the name of Jesus. Marcus Garvey did done say, yeah what? I am going to return in the storm and in the whirlwind with millions of our ancestors, to reclaim what is rightfully ours. And a time now we see where, when we talk about ancestors, we want the people to understand the spirits of ancestors when we are talking about ancestor. Ancestor is the river. Ancestor is the ocean. When we go down there to sea, whether you go down a Burwood Beach or wherever, go deep into the water, you are intermingling with your ancestors. Their spirit and their energies are there. When you sit down under a tree, you sit down at the foot of your ancestor. Them did it. Whether it called the kinder tree or the cotton tree, where they always dwell. Let us go there and interact with them, because we are going to need them within these times to help us, to guide us along the journey, because we are our ancestors, and whether it's the Karamanti or whether those who are here who are a part of the Akan tradition or the Yoruba tradition, we need to awaken those spirits and those energy that we can vibrate on the frequency that we need to vibrate on, because so talking and rum drinking, no really I go help in this time. Yeah, we have to go find a way through it. What about it? Saying so,
I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, when we talk about
to Simone Maddox, good afternoon, my dear. Can you show this to Imara? Yes. Let's see it. Carl Finley, reggae historian from Navan, Ireland, is tuned in. His interview here tonight on Primal, 9:30 p.m. Bless up, Navan, reggae historian. We give thanks that you're tuning in. We give thanks. From Ireland. So people in Ireland are listening to Simone. And I believe
that is amazing. What time is it there now? What time is it
in Ireland? We suppose we don't even know.
We welcome them.
We welcome the people in Ireland. Yes. And we know the struggle. Oh, Mr. Carl Finley, reggae historian from Navan, Ireland, is tuned in. His interview airs tonight on Primal. Yes, Carl Finley, big up yourself, reggae historian. I'm going to try my very best to tune in. We give thanks for the vibration and for the energy. See, and we give thanks that you tune in. And spread the word, share it, make them know, say, this is going. So every Monday, I hope you understand little patois, because we are going to dish out some pie. You understand? We don't speak straight English. We are multilingual. We have our own language, and we... It's she said it's about 10 p.m. there in Ireland. Love and light, Mr. Carl Finley, reggae historian. Simone, we're back with this land issue and constitution reform.
Yes, and we're tuning into we higher consciousness, we higher mind, Christ consciousness, whatever does it for you. Yes. I just want our listeners to know that this is a time to be focused and to use the higher faculties of mind. Yes. The kingdom, the answers are within you. And we are the change that we want to see. It's not just a catchy phrase.
No.
It is a statement of truth. And that brings me to some statistics, which are facts, which can change. We mustn't confuse facts with change, with truth,
Break it down,
facts can always change. Facts can always change.
But the truth can't change.
That we're looking at precisely, the truth endures. So the facts we're looking at right now in terms of registered lands. And this is, remember, it is still arguable as to who really owned the land there. And everything is pointing to the monarchy as the owner of the lands. But be that as it may, for the time being, we are saying to get our population officially documented in terms of lands, 60 years after independence, these are the statistics. St. Andrew, over 80%. A little over 82% of the lands are registered lands. We don't get into who own them yet. Kingston, 85%. St. Thomas, 35%. Portland, 27%. St. Mary, 34%. A little bit, a shade over that. St. Anne, 42%. St. Catherine, 65.7%. Clarendon.
You're saying that is people with title?
Yes, with registered title. Now, why this matter? When you are talking about prosperous countries or economically strong countries in the world, all of their lands are accounted for, you know.
Yes.
The whole concept of unregistered land is unknown.
Whoa.
Everything is well documented and can be utilized, right? Clarendon, 29%. Trelawney, 31%. Manchester, 39%, 39.4%. St. Elizabeth looks like 35%. St. James, 63.8%. Hanover, 34%. Westmoreland, 39%. So if half of the land, when you average it out, if half of Jamaica still unregistered,
that means half of we are squatters.
And
more than half of we are squatters.
You get now into the treaties of a man like Frantz Fanon that talk about the wretched of the earth and the effects of colonialism. You get into the treaties of Hernando de Soto, I believe, the mystery of capital. Why is it that capitalism don't work nowhere else apart from in the Western countries? Land seems very much to be the missing part of that puzzle. That is probably
as you said that, during some debate or town hall meeting, let me say town hall meeting on this constitution reform.
Yes.
I saw an esteemed professor, Mr. Harold Miller, got up and he said something, and he just like he give out a warning that whatever we are discussing here, make sure it is just about constitution. That's something that shocked me, you know, because I say, why him say that? Because we can't just talk about the constitution.
Not just about the monarchy.
And the monarchy. Understand? I can say that, and nobody no ask him as a professor. Why him just give out that from the people themselves? Say, don't touch anything else. Just deal with the constitution. Would I like some clarity upon it? We are saying it out here so now that whosoever listening can do some investigation. Why the esteemed professor made such a I want to say a command, because it's like a command and get the issue out. So make sure we're not talk about nothing else.
We have to talk about everything because the Constitution is the legal blanket and the political blanket of everything else, our whole system. Yeah. So we cannot just focus there. It affects everything else. In fact, the Constitution itself says that any law that is inconsistent with it, the Constitution, is null and void to the extent of that inconsistency. So we have to look at everything else, or we are engaging in an exercise in futility. And what this map, so to speak, or this profile that I just tried to outline, hints at is how we have power we're not using. Land is power. Land is power, and if we are not facilitated in using it and utilizing it and leveraging it in an easy way or a reasonable way, then what we have is power that we're not using. I think economists them call that dead capital. Money that is not working for you, an asset that is not working for you. And inactivity is like you have something dormant. You're dormant in terms of your progress. When you are in control of land or connected to land, that the ownership of it is unclear, your tenure is unstable, and there is just this shroud of mystery and confusion around it. And some of the laws that we have to look at include the Registration of Titles Act. There is a bill right now before the Parliament, the Registration of Titles Amendment Act of 2020, that has not come into force yet, that hasn't been enacted yet, but it is at least some kind of acknowledgement of the need for a comprehensive land reform and reform related to the systems and procedures that have to do with land. And whether it is primarily geared as a way to attach a comprehensive tax regime or a system to lodge caveats against property, it don't matter. It's still a start. It still is something that we can build on, and we can make this a meaningful exercise, right? We also have the Registration of Titles, Cadastral Mapping and Tenure Clarification Special Provisions Act. One act name, so you know, can you imagine that? Listeners,
no. Hold on. Simone. That is when we want to you break down, because when me hear that cadastral or something there, me I say, what is that?
Let me read it.
You know, remember your talk.
Okay? Let me read the official name, right? We're not using a nickname yet. Registration of Titles, Cadastral Mapping and Tenure Clarification Special Provisions Act. And the Amendment Act there too. So that exists already. If I'm to sum it up, I would call it the Mapping Act. That's a short name I would give it. And what it is really is legislation that governs how lands are identified. So like you have a map of the country, you have a map of Jamaica in terms of land titles and parcels of land. And so you have a law attached to that map of Jamaica. That is basically what it is saying.
To identify,
why so many words in it, I don't know.
Identify lands that, to identify some lands, but who are in ownership of those land? Are they crown land, or some land where the government maybe have some interest, or some of some big private entities, you know, who most time are the one who will be in charge of those land to do some form of investment, whether putting up houses or farming or whatever, like what took place over Bernard Lodge, where we see go on over there. So when we see a long title like that, now if we break it down that the ordinary people understand.
It's for ordinary people, it's the Mapping Act. It's mapping out Jamaica according to
even that. Well on, you see, even that Mapping Act What is the Mapping Act? Even that's
Or
still
the
not clear to
Jamaica
the
map.
people.
The Jamaica map.
So we have a mapping act.
If we're going to give it a catchy name, would say the map.
Yeah.
Or the map law.
Or the map law.
And then some people are going to say map.
Yeah, and then also, and when we talk about the map law, but what the map law entails, what in this law, you know, because it needs
we are cut up the land, we are draw one picture, and we are saying, see the picture here of how the land then share up, how the land share up. The land share up law, the land share up law.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere now that the people out there understand. Say some land I go share up. I wonder if at them I go share out or somebody I go just take up all of them land, yeah. Because when it a share up sometime.
But some people own them share already, you know. So my land will show up on it, but my land now go share up for somebody else. Unless me have some land where me not attend to, and somebody else unfortunately get it. But it is to show, it's like a diagram then, a legal diagram to show how the lands are divided, parceled out.
Because some people out there, some people
technology.
Yes. Some people out there wonder now some people out there, Simone, wondering how the share up go. If then can just go to them MP or and say, well, say me not am no land, all that come here now, or that like piece of land in a Trelawny. You know what I mean? If me register as a voter and feel like say, boy, I need a piece of land to put up a little house because me have the right there.
Well, you can make the first step by contacting the National Land Agency to find out if they have any land selling. That you can be a part of that. And they have a system which is supposed to be a bit easier to register land. So that we are not saying nothing is going on here, but there's still too much confusion about it. They have a system called systematic land. What's it again? Systematic land register. I think that is what their system is called. But
so we sit down and draft up then kind of term for confuse the people. We sit down and draft up then term and know say the ordinary Jamaica people you talk to.
That is something we need to talk about as well, because we're going back to a constitution that most of us can't even examine it, much less understand it, right? There's also the Land Acquisition Act. That is the one that permits the government to take land that they need for public purpose and they compensate the one who is in control that can say them entitled to that compensation. Then you have the Crown. In fact, I should have started with this one. The Crown Property Vesting Act and Section 4 and 5. The Crown Property Vesting Act and in Section 4 and 5 of the Crown Property Vesting Act is a law that says that lands and minerals are held on trust by the Commissioner of Lands for His Majesty the King. Well, it would have said Her Majesty the King because she just gone the other day. But it really says in those two sections, 4 and 5, that the Commissioner of Lands holds land on trust, land and minerals on trust for Her Majesty the Queen, her heirs and successors. So you see how deep this thing go? Why, when all is said and done, you may feel good to lie down in your bed at night, in your nice, cozy home. but you are a holder of property. You are not an owner, because the Crown Property Vesting Act basically establish the monarch as, and them heirs and successors as the owner of land.
Treaty of Madrid. Yeah.
Right? The Minerals Vesting Act also say it vests in the crown all minerals in Jamaica, with the exception of clay, sand, limestone, and other stone used for road building or building and construction. So gold and yours are the king gold. Diamond and yours are the king diamond. Oil, all those valuables, oil which is called black gold, it don't belong to you. It belongs to King Charles. That put on him crown.
Water and mineral too.
Right? And you have facilities for Title Act that now deal with small farmers, helping them to get title for small holdings so that they can get security for agricultural loans. So this is really a part of the banking system, more so than anything else.
To tie up some more.
It's for the
to
purpose
tie up the people some more.
Yeah, it's for the purpose of having title, a land title, so you can have collateral for your agricultural loan. You have the Local Improvements Community Amenities Act. That one has never been amended from it came into being, and it came into being in I think it was in the 1950s that it came into being, right? Some of these acts have not been amended in over 30, 40, 50 years, almost as long as they have been in existence. We have Rent Restriction Act, the Forest Act. Funnily enough, this one is the one I saw where the Crown land definition was replaced by Government of Jamaica. So Government of Jamaica is saying that it owns the forest reserves, but it's really...
But it's still the Crown.
It's still the Crown, but it's strange enough, them never mention the Crown in this one.
No, but the Government of Jamaica is also owned by the Crown. So, I don't know.
And you have the Agricultural Small Holdings Act. That is about sharecropping, landlord and tenant relationship. If there's a breach of it, you pay $4, $10, or $2 for each extra month as a landlord. If you breach a contract with your tenant, who you supposedly lease land for plant up in crops or her crops, we have a lot of stuff that we need to look at. And coming back to its status, we have to look back again at the Immigration Restriction Commonwealth Citizens Act. We will need to review this carefully. This is a 1945 act, last amended in 1988, and it imposes restrictions on immigration by Commonwealth subjects. That's the word used. So, in other words, the king can decide who set foot on this land called Jamaica. You better believe it.
This is what I say. This is a question we must look into. With all of these acts, see, and the things that we are moving into creating a new constitution, right? And what you are saying, according to what I listen to them, we must pay attention to all of these things, don't it? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, we need to. Beach Control Act is another one that riles a lot of tempers. The 1956 Act, last amended in 2004, and it says the foreshore and the floor of the sea is declared vested in the Crown.
What you saying?
I say we need to pull out everything, unpack the Dulcimina grip them. We need to do it. Pull out all of the old grip them and unpack them, hold up everything to the light if we're really serious about constitutional reform. Where's the budget for constitutional reform? Do we dare ask that?
Great question. Great question.
We need a budget for this.
We need to see the budget for constitutional reform. We need Jamaica people need to see it. We need to know how much money UNO spend on this process.
This is not a joke thing. Should we, for instance, I'm sorry. I was just saying we should be looking at the crown lands and looking at it just like how we are talking about proceeds of crime and forfeiture legislation. Should we be looking at crown lands as proceeds of crime against people of African descent and other oppressed persons, indigenous communities? This is not a joke thing.
No, you see, even the talk of reparation, we need to get deeper with that, Just I listen to you right now, Simone. Me I say, wait, it's all of these things, all of them something there, so for we sift out, for we look through, for know we real status. Because if we are still subjects, if we are still the properties of the crown, I will spend them property as quarters. What talk we have? How much louder we can, how loud we can talk. If you say, guess what? Watch no king. Me nah see you as no more my leader no more, they over my head, But the king I say, but you're there on my land. You can't there on my land and I talk about say, you no respect me no more. And that me talk about, you're in a man yard, and you're in a yard, and I tell him, say, I don't need you no more, I can't go up on my own. When I say, go on your own, it's like, like you put in your house, and I raise up him tail, and I say, watch out, I feel me place this.
Yes.
You see me, sir?
Find your own place and push your own key.
Aye. Be really dead, sir. A serious question.
Yes.
Are we prepared to really say, me need you have to come out or if you get off of my back,
And if we don't do that, you know what we're doing? You know what we're doing if we don't make that bold move? Our government and our branches of government, because we have different branches,
yes,
would end up functioning as national custodians of criminally accumulated wealth. We would be perpetuating that dastardly system that we say we're throwing off. So this is an opportunity on so many levels for us to do more than just be ceremonial. That's how we are going to be able to move forward in a powerful and meaningful way. This is how we're going to get closure. This is how we're going to get over the post-traumatic stress disorder of slavery and colonialism. Yes, this is how we would be able to do it if we are willing to have the real conversations and willing to unpack what we are holding, because we can't put new wine in an old wine skin.
No. And it deep, it deep.
Yeah.
Because you can't ask the people who want to continue with the Henry Morgan legacy to guide a process of change. And to all, me see some of them people are behave, they are carrying out that kind of principle. You know, when people don't even regard another brother as human, you already, already.
And something must be said about that, even in the context of the Constitution, because
yes,
that the Constitution, even as it is, with all its defects, the Constitution is there to protect citizens.
Yes.
From those kinds of indignities. If you look at chapter 3, E, F, 2, H, and J in chapter 3, it tells us that we're not supposed to be subject to them kind of abuse there by nobody at all. So that is citizen and citizen violence right there. And it is in breach of the Constitution. It's not just embarrassment. It is a constitutional travesty. Wow. That is what it is.
Make we see it because we want the people to know, we say in E, A, and F.
Look in chapter 3 under fundamental rights and freedoms.
Yes. Life, liberty, security of person, the enjoyment of property, and the protection of the law. Freedom of conscience, of expression, and of peaceful assembly and association, and respect for his private and family life.
I was looking at let me read it from what I have here, because as I say,
whereas every person in Jamaica is entitled to the fundamental rights and freedom of the individual, that is to say, has the right, whatever is race, place, or origin, political opinion, color, creed, or sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedom of others and for the public interest, to each and all of the following, namely. So, let's see where I say, so it is 13.
Yes, the freedom to peaceful assembly and association.
Yes, so I'm going to tell you, say, the Constitution no recognize no caretaker. And all of we are supposed to be caretaker of Jamaica. All my baby supposed to be caretaker of Jamaica, if we understand what caretaker is. But we don't know if they might put a different definition to it.
Yes, so you have the right of freedom of peaceful assembly and association, the right to freedom of movement. That is to say, the right of every citizen to enter Jamaica and of every person lawfully in Jamaica to move around freely throughout Jamaica. So you go tell me I can't come on a tour to reside in any part of Jamaica and to leave Jamaica.
Yes.
And it goes on, the right to equitable. This is the most important one. The right to equitable and humane treatment by any public authority in the exercise of any function. How dehumanizing is that to be called a chink and a fly? And we countenance that. And we countenance that. The right of everyone to protection, respect for and protection of private and family life, the privacy of the home. Well, that may not be as pointed, but the point is most clearly stated. The right to freedom from discrimination, and the right to equitable, I beg your pardon, the right to equitable and humane treatment. freedom of association and freedom of movement.
Yes.
So
Yes.
even if it does not name you as caretaker or councillor or MP or whatever, it is inconceivable that someone elected to represent citizens could show that level of contempt toward another citizen for something perceived as an infraction of that nature. And we're talking about the Constitution. So let us say that our discussion here, Aymara, is really an opinion, just an opinion.
Yes.
Let us say it is true. What he's saying is so. It's true. Then that's all the more reason. That's an even stronger argument for pulling the Constitution apart and either coming with a brand new one or a seriously re-engineered one. Because we can't have a constitution that don't recognize citizens. What is that? So let us look at it as an opportunity to put the Constitution under a floodlight.
Now
So
the question me asking you, Simon.
will never happen again.
The question I'm asking is, are we in the frame of mind, if we are going to treat people so, and the same people who are in leadership, right? They are the one who are going ahead to select committee to create a new constitution. And in their midst, there is this kind of behavior. How it going to work?
What do we do? We call it out. We call it out. We have started. We have to have a even more public conversation about that. Because this is not anything goes. We have to have some standards. We have to have some standards of humanity and dignity that we follow if we are going to do this. Because what the Constitution is saying, we all are subjects. We are Commonwealth subjects, all of us. And if we are going to elevate beyond that status, if we are going to elevate ourselves even in relation to land and other matters, other connected matters, then we have to have a basic standard of respect by which we relate to each other. And then the next thing is to ask some pointed questions. So this is a big journey that we are embarking on. We need to know if the tank is full, if it's a ship, if there's enough fuel, if it's a bus, if enough gas in the bus. Whatever the vehicle is, we need to know the cost of this journey, and if we have our supplies and our equipment to take it on, it would be, as a start, good for us to know about the persons who are leading the charge. So the 15 or so members of the committee, it would be good to know who they are, what they bring to the table, how we can help them, because then we're going to have to help them. Nobody can do this by themselves. We all have to do this together.
I wonder if they know so they need help.
They maybe they don't know yet, but then they will, based on the questions being asked of them, they will come to the realization they need help. Are all our parishes represented on that committee, for instance?
No.
Are all our sectors, if it's not a parish by parish representation, are all our sectors of our country represented on that committee? So if you have enough people from the agricultural sector, the tourism sector, the education sector, all the different sectors we have, health, everything, all of it, we need to at least make sure, say, the team where we have, what we call we core team or we committee, they are sufficiently representative.
Me see them always have a youth parliament. Where is the youth in all of this, you know?
There is a youth representative, but we need to know our people.
Of course.
When we have Miss Jamaica World or Miss Universe or whatever, Miss Festival Queen, don't we know the contestants, even them name and, you know, we know a little thing or two about them?
So who is that youth representative? Because mother like, no, you know?
I don't remember his name right now.
Yeah, so my son need to ask him some question. My two son, you know? As young as they are, they need to ask him some questions. They need to put in front.
We can't do this thing in secret, and we cannot do it. We cannot do it without transparency.
And not just ask
otherwise
questions.
we're going to damage ourselves, and we're going to damage future generations, and end up to be the tragedy.
But we don't damage already.
Even if that is so, we can still turn things around.
So that me talk about the healing process. We can. You said damage. Well, this look like a mash up. We're going to mash up now. If we know, try to repair ourselves. We are talking about reparation, you know. And when we look at what we call reparation, is to repair, right? And so we are moving to something, you know, we're already chaka. And we see this chaka kind of mindset people want to lead it. Give thanks for a new kind of justice. Me I say it, me I say it with certain kind of authority, you know, because you see, me don't know if the conversation that they know where else. Me don't know.
We are the people. I'm paraphrasing Queen Afua now. We are the people who lighten the darkness. And we are here, so the darkness is lightened.
Yes, I mean, I walk with my bamboo torch through this dark passage. Yeah, I mean, we have to light it up and hold it high, you know, because it's serious. It is very serious, and some people sit down and kin them teeth and understand where this thing are take way. You know what I mean? And we must participate. So all who are boasting them chest and a tab, me never vote yet. I'm in a nothing with politicians. Well, politicians in a something we don't know, because them are gonna make some decision where it are gonna affect all of the great grandpicking them. See, because some decision make all 300, 400 years ago, and see it affect where right here, so.
Right.
I wouldn't people have to wake up.
Right. No, it is affecting us.
Right now, 300-400 years ago, some people do something and see it still have a call with subjects. Still a call with subjects after what our ancestors been through to build empires, feed them empires. You know what I mean? You know, that even recently, they might run out the Windrush people them who going in England in the 1940s, go rebuild England after we never have nothing to do with the war when them start a feed them war, you know. And we take it up on ourselves because we claim that we are British citizens, right? Go there, go fight. And enough of we go there and work and build back them empire. And then them could have looked on me and say, watch, I will not need you no more, you know. And they must send you out. You understand? It's a good thing. The voices of the people across the world did start to, you know, kick up again and say, no, you can't treat the people so. But I saw them still say we. And it's sad that
and so we can't afford to see ourselves as inferior. And that is why it is painful to one of our own referring to one of our other own as chink and fly.
As flea and
chink.
We're not going to make that one you're dead and sweep under the carpet like this.
Cannot.
You know what I mean? Because if we do this, if we continue with this, and you know what?
That is how you started, Amara. That now is a weapon of mass destruction if we don't correct it. And we can't afford to be injured by any more weapons of mass destruction. Right? We have been engaging in a season of name calling. So when I know Massa, a black royalty, and when I know black royalty, a chink can fly. How much further we can take this thing? We've got to stop it.
Into the gutter. Simone, when done, I laugh and I say, whenever we kind of chemistry, always, you know, so the 2 hours fly off already.
So I see.
The boys.
I hope the listeners got something out of this.
Well, I'm happy to have you at least nearly 2 hours. You know what I mean? And a new kind of justice back over. You're still a family of Fit FM. You know, you just take a little corner and go or so. You know, especially.
And I hear my sister chuckling in the background. Her laughter sounds like little bells.
Yeah, man. Yeah, she they are looking bright and beautiful, you know.
Yeah, man, she have me love always.
Alright. So it's another edition of the Community Buzz. And we are going to continue with this thing that we call constitution reform, because we are a part of the process. And we, the people, must participate in the world, taking control of our lives and making that change that we want to see. We're not going to blame nobody else for our own destruction this time. We're only going to have ourselves to blame. You understand? And, you know, make sense for a cuss and point finger. You know what I mean? We have to look within ourselves and see what needs to be done, you know, to take us to out of the kind of realm that they have us in, calling us subjects. We need to take off the clothes now and put on something new. Yes. And remember, say we are kings, queens, and goddesses who rule the earth and still ruling the earth. Though some of us choose to remain dormant, but it will not be forever. As long as we're there and carry the bamboo torch, and as long as Anchorage, a new kind of justice, is around, this change is inevitable. It's no joke and it's no doubt about it. Forward on, we are moving. The Community Buzz. Give thanks to Simone Maddox and give thanks to Julia. Give thanks to the listeners. Even though we don't chime in and say anything, but we not listen. We give thanks to the brethren over in Ireland, you know what I mean? Mr. Carl Finlay. Yes, I will try tune in later on Primal to hear your music and the whole historian of, you know, the history of Miss Way say Ireland into reggae historian. Yes, interesting. We need to know what go on, you know, because people outside of Jamaica are historian and our culture. So we need to dig into that. Yes, blessings and light.
Thank
love.
You.
I'm Mara out. Next strong. We see you now.
This is Fit FM.
Fit FM 96.7.
96.7.
Duncan Streloni.
Duncan Streloni.